Well, hi everyone. I'm John Rethlin with my review of AEW Dynamite, and that was really goddamn good. That was a great episode of Dynamite from beginning to end. They told some great stories. There were a few things I didn't like. Don't worry, I'm going to get into that. And don't be shocked if I get just a little bit angry about the couple things I didn't like for very good reasons. But I have a lot to praise about this show. Firstly, Cody Rhodes is in the ring, and yes, he's Cody Rhodes. That's what I'm going to call him. I don't care if they call him Cody on TNT. He is Cody Rhodes. With Arn Anderson, it's the TNT Open Challenge, and Eddie Kingston comes out with one of the best promos of the goddamn year. Eddie Kingston, one of the best promo cutters today in wrestling. I'd say the last 25 years. Guy's fucking incredible, and really just spitting so many goddamn great lines at Cody and just going after him and going after Arn and just saying, I'll take you out and all this. And Eddie means everything he says. He feels it. He is absolutely great. He just comes across as so goddamn real and just so fired up. So they had a match, and it was a no DQ match. Eddie's like, I asked Tony Khan, and Tony says you have to accept it, so they accepted it. And there we go. It was brutal from the very beginning. Unfortunately, Eddie did injure his knee, and that was very unfortunate. You could tell he was favoring it. Yeah, he was gutting through it, and he was doing some great stuff. Took a concrete bump. There were some hard strikes and all that. They even brought out thumbtacks, and there was a power bomb that Cody took into the thumbtacks. Eventually, he would bow up. He would no-sell something. He would get Kingston down and do a figure four, and Kingston would tap while they were right next to the thumbtacks, so he probably got a few thumbtacks in his hand. But the match was a really great way to kick off. Now, yes, you could argue that maybe they blew their load a little bit too quickly, because if you start off like that, it's kind of like ECW, where do you have to go? Now, they honestly kept the pace up, brought it down a little bit before heating it back up, but I'm going to say this much about Eddie Kingston. He's more than earned this opportunity from, all the great things that he's done in his career, working smaller shows and everything, being who he is, being his own man. Tony Khan needs to open up the fucking wallets and sign him. He's already signed a few people that I have questions about, but you know what? They have their fans, and that is what it is. Eddie Kingston, if he's injured, and I hope he's not injured, I hope it's just, temporary, it's just a little bit of a tweak, and that he'll be okay. But honestly, sign the man. If you need to keep him as a hype man for a while until he can get back in the ring, do that. He can do some incredible fucking promos, cut so many people down. He can do some great shit. That's what they need to do. They need to sign Eddie Kingston. That's all I gotta say about that. Hashtag sign Eddie Kingston. That's trending on Twitter, so let's do it. So, the announcers then, run down the card and everything, and then we get a Moxley promo where he's just around, he's in the weird boiler room or something like that, and says that next time he faces Brian Cage, he won't let go. He will snap his arm. Brutal. I love it. So, we get MJF with Wardlow versus Griff Garrison, a.k.a. Tom McGee 2.0. MJF runs him down. Griff says, well, you say you're undefeated. Didn't you lose a tag match at, Fyter Fest? And it's true. He did. And then MJF hits him with the mic, which was kind of funny. And then he just kept running him down and everything. This went through a break, which I kind of got why they did it, but he kept beating him down. He got the mic again and says, well, hey, say I'm undefeated, say I'm undefeated. It took a while stepping on Griff's hand and beating him up and everything before he would say, oh, you're undefeated. And then he finally, even though Griff manages to knock the mic out of his hand and almost get, the dreaded roll-up for 3, eventually, MJF, pile driver, heat seeker off the ropes. 1, 2, 3, and there you go. MJF just dominates, does that shit. That was really good. I enjoyed that. MJF versus Eddie Kingston in a promo battle. As good as MJF is, I think Eddie would just eat him alive at this point because Eddie's been doing it longer. But MJF is also really good on promos. And then Britt has her conspiracy theories going on. These are conspiracy theories that actually work as opposed to others that people have on social media, but I digress. Never count out a role model, and she's yelling at Reba and Tony Schiavone and everything. She compares herself, I am Michael Jordan, and compares about Michael Jordan coming back, and Schiavone says about him coming back to the Wizards, Michael Jordan, well, they never made the playoffs, and she just runs really good stuff. Britt's promos are hit and miss, but she has really gotten into this role as a heel. It really is working. And yes, you can make comparisons between Bayley and Britt if you want, or you could enjoy both and stop doing that. Anyway, so she says, don't count out a role model, particularly at All Out. So she's going to be back soon. That's good. Taz and Cage, he explains why he threw in the towel. Basically, Mox was doing what he was doing. He did not want Mox to tear Brian Cage's arm and for him to miss more time. So that Brian Cage almost fired him. He did put over the armbar and said, hey, next time we have this match. He's not going to stop. And yeah, you did what you did. He did a nice job of putting his own guy over and putting Mox over. And then Darby comes down and immediately gets blindsided by Ricky Starks. Holy fuck, he went right into the goddamn ropes. Darby did. And they beat him up for a bit. And then suddenly Moxley shows up with a barbed wire bat and chases them off. And we're actually going to get a tag match with them next week. We then get a little VTR, a little video package for an AEW Women's Tag Team Cup. 16 women, 8 teams, human centipede together, and that's what we're going to get. Cool. Unfortunately, this means we're going to have Brandy on TV, and her and Allie are probably at least going to win one match. Watch, they probably get to the finals. But honestly, good. You want to feature the women? You want to do some good stuff? Hopefully this can tell some good stories, and maybe you can feature Sheeta on the goddamn show instead of sitting in the crowd. As talented and beautiful as Sheeta is, she should not just be featured on Dark. Feature her more and feature your women more. Just do some shit like that. Because that was kind of the one thing about this. They only had one women's match on this and they had 6 matches. But anyway, at least Women's Cup should be good. Jericho then, cuts a promo. This is from last week. Says, do I still smell like orange juice? At the end he says, and he's like screaming. Santana's like, what? Want me to lie to him? And then the Bucks walk in the mess kitchen and catch Butcher and Blade beating their respective meat. And not phrasing, they actually were doing some stuff. They weren't doing that to their own meat on the table. So, we get Butcher and Blade versus the Bucks in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And you're probably thinking I'm going to hate this. Because I'm not a big fan of the Bucks. I shockingly like this. Now, was it wrestling? No. Was it madness? Yes. Was it insane? Yes. Was it over the top? Yes. Was it car crash? Yes. But it was fun. It was kind of like how I felt about that 8-man tag that they had recently when they teamed up with FTR against the Lucha Bros and Butcher and Blade. That wasn't necessarily wrestling, but it was a car crash and it was fun. They start out in the mess kitchen. We get power bombs on the table. We go into the concourse. We get a flip out of the trailer. And I'm not even going to try to go into this stuff. We get pans. Tony Schiavone saying at one point, you can get a $20 wine drink in a mason jar, which is just funny. I don't know why Shivani's commentaries pop me so much. We get the table not breaking when they tried to do a senton, a Sia senton to Butcher. They go up, Blade goes up the escalator when they just knock him out. He does that. They go back to the goddamn ring, and Butcher has to fight them off for a while. And then Blade suddenly comes back out of nowhere. We get tables. And then tables in the tunnels or wherever. Everybody's got tunnel vision. It's 1997 in the UK all over again. Well, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. And then dueling elbow drops in. 1, 2, 3, the Bucks win. Okay, cool. Is it something I'm going to remember? Nope, but I wasn't bored. I definitely wasn't bored. And then we get Marvez interviewing Archer and Roberts. Here's the funniest thing. Jake Roberts suddenly starts narrating this in the worst Linda Blair impression I've ever heard, except that's his actual voice. Archer runs in and just beats the shit out of a whole bunch of guys and throws one guy up and the ceiling tile falls down. That made me laugh more than it should have. That was hilarious. It was weird. They are using Archer very weirdly on AEW programming. Now we get Evil East. Depression isn't a mental illness and we all go through tough times and, same goes for anxiety. Evil East. Let me just make this really clear about Evil East. Evil East better have changed her tune on that, because if she doesn't believe that depression and anxiety are mental illnesses, then she's got some issues. And also, she also is a trainer at the Team Vision Dojo, which, Chasing Ranch, she was chasing a win here. Look, Evil East hopefully did change her tune on that, but being a trainer at the dojo of a known child toucher, teenage toucher, whatever it is, that's fucking ridiculous. So fuck Evil East, I don't really care. She's good in the ring, that's about it. As a person, piece of shit. She takes on Diamante. We get immediate fisting action, we get a whole bunch of other stuff. And by the way, I want to say really quickly with me saying this kind of stuff, I ain't trying to preach like I'm a great guy. I've never been a great guy, but you know what? I'm not going to be the kind of piece of shit person that's going to say that. And I'm going to grow as an individual, and we should all grow as individuals. If you don't like what I have to say, keep watching. Maybe I'll change your mind, or you can just be upset. I'm just a wrestling fan. That's all I'll ever be. I'm never going to be a reporter or anything like that. Just a crazy wrestling fan. So, Swole has a, little pre-tape promo that got, inserted in the middle of this match. It was very odd. They did 20 takes. That was the best one. And then Evil East, her cheek got cut at one at one point, too damn bad. I hope she's okay, but just seriously, fucking hell, why the hell are you gonna be a trainer at that goddamn dojo? God damn it. It goes for anybody associating with Chase and Rance. And then we get an inside cradle from Diamante. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. I think they might have signed Diamante, or they have an idea to. Hangman Page versus 5 of the Gimp Order, the Dark Gimp Order. That's Alan Angels. And you know what? This is the one thing I gotta complain about. They are still not disbanding the Dark Order. It's a stupid gimmick. I'm not saying fire anybody. I don't want anybody fired. Whether, global bullshit going on or not. I don't want anybody fired. But the Dark Order is stupid. It's it's horrible. It's a subjectively stupid stable. Anyway, that being said, everybody else shows up except Brody Lee, and then Hangman wins, thankfully, thank fucking Christ, and then Lee and Cabana show up, so they pretty much just taken Cabana's character and tossed it in the goddamn bin, and then we get a 4-on-1 thing, because after Brody Lee cuts a promo and Hangman says, I don't think I'm ready to join a cult right now. That was actually kind of funny. Lee says, I hope you happy you made your bed, now you can lie in it, or something like that. I tuned out Brody Lee because I pretty much am done with what he's doing in AEW. And it's 4-on-1 to Page, and then FTR shows up and breaks a styrofoam cooler over a couple of the Dark Order's heads, and then Omega is also late, but there. And they offer Hangman a beer. Well, not Omega, but FTR does. That's how you win Hangman over, you offer him alcohol. JR, hope you're wearing your mask. Please, for the love of God, guys. We can all get through this. Let's just try to do what we can. So, Preachy, fuck you, don't fucking care. So, I've gotten a lot of that on Twitter, actually, where people don't like that, and I go, okay, well, fucking hell. Find me on Twitter and tell me I'm wrong or whatever, and I'll tell you to piss off. So, Omega and Page versus the Dark Order next week. Do not give the fucking Dark Order the tag team championships. Shida versus Diamante. Cool. Okay, finally. They're featured. That's the one women's match they announced. Moxley and Darby versus Cage and Starks in a tornado tag, and Cody's Open Challenge next week. And then we also are going to get Inner Circle versus Jurassic Express and Best Friends next week. Because our main event is Jurassic Express and the one guy I just don't like because he shouldn't be in the goddamn ring at all versus Hager and Jericho. The match was fine. It was a big lads smashing into each other, and Jungle Boy sold a whole lot. He did a nice dive onto Santana and Ortiz. And they got the shit beat out of him. Jericho at one point gets the bat in there and starts messing with Aubrey. You don't fucking mess with Aubrey. Ask Phoenix how well that works if you mess with Aubrey in Seattle. Doesn't work well. Does not work well at all. We get very mad when you, when you try to battle one of our own. And more interference from Stunt because we cannot have nice things. But that being said, the match ended the way it should have. Serpentico showing up, was in the crowd and suddenly hit Luchasaurus with the bat. And then we get a code breaker for 3. Oh no, Serpentico's in there. It's Sammy. Sammy's already back. I guess his therapy went over pretty well. Now let me say really quickly, one, what Sammy Guevara said, regardless of whether it was before he got, majorly into wrestling or whatever, was fucking stupid. What he said about Sasha was stupid. And if you're going to say that you talk like that, or, you say that about certain, or women that you're interested in or stuff like that, or men you're interested in, you don't say that. You say, oh, holy shit, if I could have my chance with them, don't say you would take advantage of them or you would do something like that and violate somebody, because no, that's not fucking cool. I don't fucking care who you are. That ain't fucking cool. If Sammy learned, and this therapy actually did stick, and he learns not to do that, fine. He can still joke, and he can still have fun, but that wasn't a fucking joke. So, if he learned, I'm not willing to let it pass, I'm not going to forget that, but I am willing to say, okay, he has another chance to do that. He screws up again, he fucking deserves to be shit-canned, hate to say it. But, that being said, let's see what happens. I'm not happy about it. I was kind of questioning, but if it worked, then it worked. Anyway, overall, pretty fun episode of Dynamite. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.